About over a year ago, I was still in school trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I ended up going through a pre-apprenticeship program, and now I'm working as an electrical apprentice. This video is just my experience and what I've learned about the trade so far. What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how I became an electrical apprentice. I'm going to break this video into a few parts. The first one's going to be kind of like me going into the schooling part and things about the school, like things I learned, the classroom and all those sorts of stuff, tests and quizzes that we had to do, post completion of the course, how I feel personally about being an electrical apprentice, and I'll give like my pros and cons. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So I graduated high school in June of 2024 and basically enrolled in the pre-app electrical course at a local university for October of that same year. This pre-app course lasted for 6 months and went on until April of 2025. Things about school, every day class was split into classroom and also shop. Now in the classroom we would learn theory, which is like things about electrical or electricity and how it works, and different types of wire and their insulations, and you know, just the theory behind electricity. Shop was the practical learning of the course, so we have the hands-on experience of actually wiring things and getting a feel for that, rather than just having strictly classroom time. Now first I'll talk about the classroom. So the theory, we learned things like how DC circuits work, different types of circuits like series, parallel, and combination. We learned about and what Ohm's law is, and as well as Watt's law. Different parts of circuits like diodes, resistors, switches, lights, and plugs, as well as their symbols, which is important very much when it comes to diagrams, which is another thing that we learned, is different types of diagrams. We focused on the forces and laws of magnetism and how that relates to electricity, which I said electron flow, and as well as house calculations, which is like essentially the amp service that a building would need. So we would calculate that, and as well as pipe sizing and how big of a pipe we would need in this certain scenario, or in what kind, and things like that. And of course code, which is the most fun part of theory. And then there was shop. So first we started off in the residential shop, which focused on just like house things. Like we started off with simple circuits like wiring plugs and lights, that eventually went into baseboard heaters, and then even wiring low voltage stuff like doorbells. Halfway through the course we switched to a commercial shop, which focused on bending, dealing, and cutting pipes, as well as wiring them with the single-stranded wires. Now to quizzes and tests. Every like 1 to 2 weeks I feel like we would have a quiz on like the little section that we would have just learned and went over. Every few weeks, so less often obviously, was tests. We'd have tests on the bigger portion of a chapter or a section that we studied and learned. Now that was like classroom, that was all theory stuff, but in terms of the shop there was never ever really like tests or quizzes for shop. But we did have to do this one thing where we were in a group of like 4 to 5 people and we had to simulate wiring a small apartment unit, so that was pretty fun. But in terms of like tests, it's like the practical tests, it's not, we don't really have much except for that. And also we were given like a little booklet of telling us what we have to wire next. So like this one, the first one is a plug, then the next one is 2 plugs, the next one is a plug and a light switch with a light, and so on and so on. So when you would finish it, the teacher would sign it off, and I guess you'd get like completion marks for that. So a little bit different marking system in the shop than it was in the classroom for sure. Post completion of the course, so upon finishing the school, my pre-app course, which was in mid-April of 2025, I was already sending out resumes to different companies within my area, in my town. Like even like a couple weeks before finishing the course, I started sending out resumes, and then as I was done, I was still sending out resumes and seeing if I could get a position. And then finally one of those resumes hit, and I was able to get hired on as an apprentice for a local company that is in my town, that focuses on like large scale residential, and then large scale residential, like new construction. and then as well as commercial work. And I started working for them like early May, like May 5th, 6th or 7th, something like that. And I've been working for that company ever since. Now I'm gonna say, like, what do I think about being an apprentice? I'll give my pros and cons. First, I'll start off with the pros. The pros of being an electrical apprentice and being in the trades field is that you get experience in a trade, like you, in a sense where like you gain knowledge about it, even if you don't stick with it. Even if I don't stick with electrical, I find it quite fascinating how I can look at a plug or a light or a switch, and I can look at that and I can imagine what's going on behind the wall, the ceiling, like everything, like not like to a certain degree, obviously. I'm just a first year apprentice, but I could see, like I have an idea of what's going on and I can probably troubleshoot some things. So that's always pretty cool to have that kind of knowledge. It teaches you that in order to succeed and become successful in the trades field, you have to really work hard and try as best as you can to learn as much as you can. In other words, it forces discipline and hard work, which is always a great trait to have. The pay is usually pretty decent when you're just starting out, but what's nice is that from there, your pay progressively often goes up and up and up. As you go to school and as you get more years of experience, your pay also goes up as well. It also prepares you for a relatively successful, stable, and a respectable career, and you can also meet some pretty cool people. Now with the cons, the first one is one that many people always associate with trades and is a very common one, and it is very true, is that it is physically demanding. For example, like recently I'm on this job site and me and my buddy were strapping some wires to the ceiling, like feeder cables, that wires that would feed power into the panels in different units. So we would go down this hallway strapping it to the ceiling. That's okay, but the tough part is this really big wire that we had to deal with. This wire was, I'll put my mic down, but it was like about like this large, like it was huge. And it's very heavy, like it's metal inside, right? Like it's wires. Thankfully, it was not copper, it was aluminum, so aluminum tends to be slightly lighter. It is quite lighter than copper. For someone to hold up the wire and then someone to strap it up, like that could be physically demanding. Then tying in with being physically demanding, it's also very easy to injure yourself. So whether it's from like minor injuries, like it's just like cuts on your hands or fingers or like pinches, to major ones, that injuries that could affect you for the rest of your life. Like if you tweak your back pretty bad or anything like that, it could affect you for the rest of your life. So those are definitely risks that have to be taken into account and are factors that are definitely present within the trades. Working on the job sites, you are exposed to harmful chemicals and fumes, such as like drywall dust in general, dirt, and as well as silica, and maybe some other ones as well, but those are some ones that you could be commonly exposed to on job sites. And if you're doing renovations or like service kind of calls or jobs, you could also be exposed to things like asbestos, which is also not very good. Another point is that you gotta wake up early, like every day. I mean, other than weekends, unless you're working the weekends, but every day you gotta work up relatively pretty early. And my last point here, if I can't really think of anything else, is that environment is important. Sometimes it can be toxic, uncomfortable, and humiliating. To me, I believe like a career, like your job and the trades, is definitely dependent on the environment and the people that you work with. I know that just exists in the trades, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. That's something to keep in mind, is that sometimes the environment is not the best. Overall, I would say that I have enjoyed my time. I make it sound like I've quit. I'm still an apprentice, but I have enjoyed my time being as an apprentice so far. I've learned a lot. It's pretty good. I hope this video was helpful. If you guys found it helpful, or if anything else you'd like to ask, any questions, any video ideas you'd like for me to talk about, please be sure to leave them in the comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next one we're reeling. Peace out.